1:59. One more minute. Let's give some time for Pat to log in.
You can go ahead.
Computer. Now we still have 1 minute.
We're in Worcester right now, too.
Are you on?
Is that me?
See.
The agenda's printed, I guess I don't need my computer.
And I don't know the packet that's sent out either. Okay, so the packet's on there, the packet's on the table as the most up to
Yeah,
date.
most up to date is in
Your
front of me,
printed
paper.
packets.
Hey guys, we're all set.
We don't even need this.
No. It's like, as soon as you said that, I was like, I said it.
Good evening. Welcome to November 2nd, 2022, Select Board and Sewer Commissioners meeting. This meeting is also be held virtually in a hybrid setting. So the meeting ID and passcode can be found on the agenda. Roll call. All members are present. Mark is on his way. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments. Is there any public comments? Hearing none, moving on. Review and vote to approve warrants for the period covering October 18, 2022 to November 2, 2022. Town payable warrant FY 2023-17 and FY 2023-18. Sewer warrants FY 2023-8 and FY 2023-09. Payroll warrants FY 2023-08 and MLP FY 2023 number 8.
Make a motion to approve the warrants.
Second.
We have a
Comment.
motion and second. Any further?
Just by way of public comment, I say this periodically. We never discuss these warrants. Used to be a few years back that 3 out of the 5 select board members had to sign them. They didn't even get brought to the select board meetings. There are 2 designated personnel, myself and Raj, who will go, usually on a Saturday, go look through the warrants, make sure we agree with all the bills that are being paid. The warrants have already been approved by the town accountant and the treasurer. If we have any questions, we put a little note. We'll bring any questions we don't get a satisfactory answer, we'll bring back to here. You never hear us talk about it because there's always a satisfactory answer. So this is just a formality to approve something that's already been reviewed outside of these meetings.
Thank you. We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Hearing none, motion carries. So 6:05, it's 6:02. Can we take one of the new business?
Yes.
Yeah, why don't you do the
Winter-
brown rice common vic permit?
Okay. So we are taking up the new business. Consider approving annual comeback for brown rice, Thai, INC DBA, Mackenzie Roman and Rice Bowls located in 26 Boylston Street. Consider having the expiration date December 31, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Do we have all the paperwork in order?
We do. I do have one request. Could the select board vote to approve this permit through December 2023? Instead of expiring this December, I'm gonna be sending out the renewals
In a few months.
in like a week or two, so they're gonna have to resubmit.
Yeah,
So
I
if we
mean-
could
I mean-
have this expire
Yeah, I made the motion for December 31st, 2023.
Yeah, thank you. I missed that.
We have motion and second, right? We have motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, can we take up the winter parking ban? It's quick? It's okay. Winter parking ban.
So Mr. Chairman, the winter parking ban has traditionally been from November 15th at midnight through April 30th, with no overnight parkings on the streets or daytime parking that may impede snow removal efforts.
Thank you.
So, yeah, my question on that was, I mean, that November 15th to April 30th, it's for snow. It seems like it's extreme. I wanted the DPW director to kind of tell us what his thoughts were on shortening that on either end. I mean, that's nothing extraordinary, but snow in November is, I don't know that we necessarily need to have the parking ban November 15th. The parking ban could be, if there's snow in the forecast, you can't park on the street, but then from a shortened date period, and I don't, we don't necessarily need to vote on this tonight, but a shortened date period, there's no parking at all, because a snowstorm may move in unexpectedly, but I don't think snowstorms are moving in unexpectedly on November 20th. So I think,
I think the current policy does say something about only if snow is in the forecast.
it's,
I mean,
no,
we looked at this in the past. I don't think.
but
we can't
there's
find-
still, I believe there's still a date certain on the policy. So I'd like to get
Can't
what the
find it.
DPW's thoughts are on shortening it, but leaving and I'm assuming that we'd have to have a public hearing on changing the policy thing. It just seems like an overkill to me to have no parking after November 15th, and, it doesn't generally snow on April 26th either.
So you want to move it to next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, and if we're gonna have well, I kind of want to see what the rest of the board thinks, if we need to even,
I think if I could find the policy on the website, but I can't right now. I believe there is something that talks about, the policy, I've seen the policy before, I thought it talks about.
emergency, it's in our packet.
There's some language embedded within the general snow and ice policy.
Right, I
but
don't know
there's
what it
not a
says, I don't know what it
standalone.
says to the public though, because I don't see anything on the website.
So to that point, I don't know if it's on the website, but I did have a question. I don't remember, Chris, you probably know better, that was brought up last year. There was some confusion on who was responsible when there was ice.
So we're gonna be talking about the snow and ice policy, broadly,
Okay.
next meeting. There's some proposed, amendments to your current snow and ice policy,
Okay.
that the DPW and other folks have weighed in on. If we wanna table this entire discussion of snow and ice to that point,
I'm fine with that too.
that works for me. I just want to,
So we will be tabling
Is our next meeting
winter
before the
parking ban?
15th?
Huh?
Is our next meeting in time?
Yes.
it's November 17th.
But it might snow.
It's not good.
Chris can guarantee you it's not going to snow between now and November 17th.
And just so this is not the policy that we were referencing.
I have not seen a standalone parking ban policy. I've only seen the snow and ice policy.
I
And there's
thought there
some,
used to be some wording on the website. But let's put it off for the next meeting. That's fine with me, I don't.
Let's table that winter parking ban as well as winter parking ban. It's 6:08.
Can we make sure, sorry, Mr. Chairman, can we make sure that Kevin is here to discuss that on the 17th?
he will be here, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So 6:05, public hearing. In conformity with the requirement of general bylaws of the town of West Boylston, Article 23, public hearing and notice that the select board will meet on Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022 at 6:05 PM for the purpose of considering amending the fees charged for the fire permit fees and the town clerk fees. Fire permit fees, chief?
He has to, usually,
Oh, yeah, this,
yeah, you read it,
Yes,
but
Mark.
usually the clerk reads it.
just reading it, That's the exact same thing, yeah?
Make a motion, Mark.
In conformity with the requirements of the general bylaws of the town of West Boylston, Article X23, public hearing and notice that the select board will meet on Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022, at 6:05 PM for the purpose of considering amending the fee charged for fire permit fees and town clerk fees. Again.
Chief?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So the recommendation to change the permit fees by adding several different items that were previously absent from the list is predominantly items that they're all issued by the fire department. They're inspection fees, permitting fees, things like that, that we encounter either on a regular basis or semi-frequently, but they were absent in the previous list, so it's to clean that up. There was a couple of them that are a change of fee. None of them are more than $10, and most of them are related to the size and scope of the projects. Some of these you'll see, like the sprinkler systems are relative to the number of devices located in a building. So most residential units are gonna be in the 0 to 50 head category, whereas when we get some of the commercial and industrial locations, they take longer for plan review, takes longer for the site visit and inspection, so the fees are incremental based upon that.
Raj?
So, yeah, question.
So, are our fees in a line with most towns? Are we
Yes, so-
bringing them, or are they lower?
Some of them were a little bit lower, and that's what some of the adjustment was. The vast majority of this proposal is to account for the items that were just absent in our fee schedule. So there was a lot of items. So you'll see where the current fee is listed, those are the items that were currently being represented. And so anywhere where there's not a current fee is an item that wasn't previously identified.
So we only did 40, and we never did anything for if it was a commercial, there was no variance?
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense, now I understand
Yep.
what this is. Thank you.
Thank you. Continue, chief.
So that's it, unless you want me to go through each item.
I think, we'll go, the old fees are there. Only the changes is 0 to 5 heads of the fire prevention, $50. So let's review only the newer fees
Okay.
first. And then, there are a couple of them are increase in fees.
Sure.
So that's about it, We don't have to go line by line.
Okay, excellent. So you want me to go through all the new ones?
New one, yeah. Just
Okay, so the new ones are compressed natural gas storage, which would be $25, and we did not have that previously. Cutting and welding, which is common with fabrication, both on-site and in shop, $50. The residential fire alarms are the same. The fire alarm reinspection fee is 50% of the original.
Chief, I think, I'm saying, only the fees which is not in the old fees.
Yeah, so it's everything here.
The one yellow highlighted.
These are just changes.
Those are the only ones that are
Changes,
changing.
yeah.
Yep,
All
so
of
you just want
these are
those?
Missing,
Yeah, just to-
missing.
Yeah,
Okay.
missing ones and the increased ones.
Yep, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's all we
Okay.
do.
So, yeah, so the fire alarm, non-residential is $25. The, in the sprinkler system, 51 to 100 heads would be $100, 101 to 200 heads would be $150, 201 or greater would be $200, and then a reinspection fee would be 50% of the original.
I have a question on
So,
that.
yeah, so I don't think Raj, do you,
No.
these are all gonna be read if you go through it the way you want. These are, because all of these are, so he'd have to go line by line through all of them, because all of these where there's empty here, these are all new. The only ones highlighted are ones that increase, but every other one is new,
Yeah,
where there isn't a line.
So I have a question in regards to that. So
sure thing.
in the past, we didn't charge anything?
We either didn't charge anything, or we would come up with I would assume we would come up with a fee that seemed appropriate. I can't speak to that. I wasn't here at the time, but this is one of the items that I had identified where there was a gap that I thought we needed to address, hence this list.
Still a question. One quick, anything question. What triggers them? Are these all annual, or?
So a lot of, these are all in the 527 CMR, which is the fire code. And so these are all permits and inspections. Some are annual, some are as needed. So if
Like a
they,
new tenant or something, or doing a change or something like that?
yeah, and a lot of these are, say you have a fireworks display.
Yeah.
A vendor would come in, apply for a permit for that. If
Yeah,
you
no,
had-
that was more on the fire
Maintain
prevention.
installation. Yeah.
I mean, re-inspect, I mean, I know we have our fire extinguishers and stuff like that re-inspected every year. Is that sort of thing?
It's
Like
not for
insurance
that, like
requirement?
fire extinguishers are inspected by a private
Right.
company.
But that's a insurance requirement. Does that drive these also? I mean, for the
Yeah.
building insurance or whatever. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, under the state regulations, we have to have these permits. So they're required for certain properties to have them on site, certain ones apply to residential, commercial.
Okay, I mean, okay.
Like anyone who has a transfer tank, a diesel fuel tank in a vehicle,
Car.
those all have to be inspected and permitted, things like that.
Okay. And then fire prevention, 0 to 50, are there buildings that are just old and they don't have sprinklers, but they would
So-
still be inspected?
So 0 to 50 would typically be like your residential or very small commercial units. The size of the number of heads is a factor that the sprinkler design engineers come up with.
But 0 is small, I mean, that's just not installed.
Well, so it would actually be one through. That's a typo. It would be one through. If they had a sprinkler
okay.
system of any type, they would have to have at least.
Do we have any buildings around that are old enough that don't have anything installed yet, or?
Oh, many.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, besides residential.
Yeah, unless they transferred ownership or did a major renovation, that would trigger an upgrade in the system.
Oh, so,
Most
okay,
of them
so there
are
are a
grandfathered.
bunch, all right,
Yeah, there's several.
okay, I'm done.
I've only got one question on this. The residential smoke CO2 cert is $50. There are a lot of other fees that are commercial fees that are less than $50. That one just jumps out at me as I mean, not that it's a ton of money, but it jumps out at me as higher than some of the other fees. What's the reasoning behind that?
So it's the amount of time that it takes to conduct the inspection. So with a residential smoke and CO inspection, depending on the vintage of the house, we have to go through and then check every living level of the house. And in the newer ones, they're required to have smoke detectors. One is required for the first 1,000 square feet of each living floor. A second one is required if it's over 1,000 square feet. And in the newer code, they're required to have them within every bedroom as well. So you're checking, on average, probably 5 to 12 devices in an average residential unit.
So when a residential home is sold, do they then have to upgrade to put a detector in each bedroom?
No, so that's why the different vintages that trigger different codes, they are required, for the newest houses, are required to have them in every bedroom, and depends on what vintage slot that they fall into. Pre-1975, they're only required to have battery-operated, non-interconnected, and the only addition to that is the CO detection requirements that came in a few years ago.
Something else.
Thank you.
One more and I'll leave. So, just based on this, I see, so the $50 service fee for smoke detector checks, it says it would apply to Hillside Village, Angel Brook. Are these just regular checks, or are these like yearly checks of those areas that would go to those folks?
So we've been doing a program for the last several years, specific to Hillside and Angel Brook. And that has been a
Certain kind of heat.
cost to the department. We've been using grant money to subsidize that, which poses a challenge financially. So to offset the cost of that, so it's neutral cost, is to increase the fee for that so that it's self-sustaining, and then it's available to all residents, not just those two subdivisions.
But this is a requirement when you're selling a house, correct?
It's a separate requirement, so
This is every
the,
year.
the smoke detector check is a service that we provide, and we bring in additional staffing specific to doing that. When we do what's called a 26F and a half inspection, that's residential resale, and that's a smoke detector and CO inspection, which is required before the transfer of ownership.
That's the one with the $50 fee.
Yes, they would both be $50. It's
Okay.
essentially the same inspection. One comes with a certificate that allows you to show compliance to sell the property. The other one is a peace of mind inspection.
Got it.
Thank you. So you want to continue with that? You have more questions?
No, are we continuing? Is he gonna read all the new ones?
All the new ones, yes.
So continuing with the new ones, we're gonna jump down to the flammable combustible liquid storage. That's gonna be, that one, 1,001 to 10,000 gallons is $50. Over 10,000 gallons would be $100. And those typically you see at like fuel transfer stations,
Okay.
gas stations. The next one will be fuel transfer operation. That's a license to operate a gas station. Limited special effects. These are fireworks that are used indoors or outdoors that are outside of the parameters of traditional explosive fireworks. So these are ones you would see in show venues and things like that. Jumping down. LP gas reinspection, so these are your liquid propane. This is if they had failed a previous inspection, this would be a reinspection fee, which is 1/2 the aggregate of the original inspection. Same with the oil burner equipment reinspection. It's a $25 fee. Salamanders temporary heat, these are primarily for buildings that have lost their heat or temporary tent for outdoor venues. The smoke CO detector, residential, 26 F and a half. It wasn't listed on my previous list. Storage of combustible materials, $25. Tank vehicles, $40 on the backside. Reinspection for tanks and containers, so this is installation of new tanks, $40. Removal of old tanks, $75. And a tank installation reinspect, $25. The tar kettles, that's for flat roofing applications when they're using the rubber, $25. Torches and heat-producing devices, $25. You see those in your service stations as well as commercial roofing applications. That was the same, and public information records would be at $5. And that's just when people call the fire department looking for like fire reports, things like that.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? If not, I will enter.
Public?
I'll actually ask a question about the public information records.
Sure.
Is it always charged, or, I mean,
Previously, it wasn't, but there's administrative time involved in finding the records and sending them off, and then the postage and things like that. We, at the fire department, get a lot of records for medical reports for attorneys' offices, fire incident reports for insurance companies, things like that.
and ambulance reports and those, that would be under there too? Okay.
Okay, any questions from the public?
Right here, I got a question first.
Okay.
So in regards to the public information records, I don't think we should have a flat fee of $5. Someone comes and asks for every email you've sent in the last year. It should be per page. I mean, that's usually that's saying like a public information request.
So, Mr. Chairman, through you, in addition to the cost per page, if it was an extensive public records request, we could charge for the time involved. So, potentially a minimum of $5, and then depending on the nature of request.
So what should we
Go from
change
there.
that to? Public information?
I think we should just add the word minimum to that.
Minimum.
And that way, because if we say $5, somebody comes in and they're really mad and they're doing a FOIA request, and they ask for the world, and we try to charge them, they're gonna say, your fee schedule says it's $5. So
So a minimum of
you
5.
just put, if we put the minimum now, that leaves everything else open, what we just discussed, we can charge you in a reasonable rate.
Okay. All right, well then, if we're discussing it, can we have that waivable too? If somebody just needs something covered by their insurance, so they're asking for like an ambulance or something? I mean, just,
I think that's what they did in the past, though, and that's what they're trying to do, is not, they're trying to
Never
actually get
waive.
paid for doing the administrative work. But that's my thought.
okay, okay, I mean, it's okay if we don't? I was just thinking if somebody's just trying to, check the boxes on their insurance or something like that, and they're just trying to do the work, and now it's just another thing to,
Well, then I
Either
don't
way.
think you can put this in here then, because the
Well,
minimum
I-
is 0.
it's, public information records is, doesn't tell us anything what they're asking for. Like he said, if I'm going in to ask for a bill, is that a public information record? Or is that just, I want a copy of my, if I come here and ask for a copy of my water bill, they don't charge me $5 on my, so I'm just, that section, I don't mind it, but I'm just confused what it means to the public.
Perhaps we could remove it from this and treat them on a case-by-case basis, the way we treat our public records requests in this building on a case-by-case basis. I mean, just anecdotally, I have one before me right now that I thought was going to be very simple, take me maybe 15, 20 minutes, and I'm probably gonna have to charge for my time, because it's 2 hours that I'm not spending doing other work. Not charge for the copies, but charge for my time. And so if you do it on a case-by-case basis, chief, then you have that discretion. Is it something that's, within the last 3 months, you have it right in the drawer, or is it something that's 3 years ago and you're gonna have to go into storage?
Does the town have a standard policy for that? Like, just something that we could
I
go
think
by?
public information is set by the state, that you can charge, there's all kinds of, you can charge for time, you can charge per page, but I don't know what the town has.
There's not a policy per se, but the town clerk is the public records access officer. So you can certainly have a conversation with her about her thoughts. My kind of general rule of thumb is if it's gonna take me more than 15 minutes, I charge for it.
well, yeah, okay, that's what I would like, is, I understand that certainly the validity of having a fee established, just so that people don't willy-nilly just, all right, then send them all to me or something, I do like having something,
I would just say, why don't we, I agree, why don't we just take it out
Strike
now?
it?
If you, I mean, are you getting, do you have a line of people at the fire station every day looking for this stuff?
It's not every day, but it's a regular basis.
Looking for, more like what we're talking about? Just
Yeah,
that
and-
copy of a
and
bill?
So, well, some of them are that, so typically with the ambulance billing, it goes through a private service, so they deal directly with them, so we already pay for a service for that. It's more for fire reports for insurance companies, lawyers' offices looking for medical reports for pending lawsuits and things like that. And those are the ones that take a period of time. If somebody's just looking for a copy of a permit or a certificate, we wouldn't apply it to that because that's readily available, doesn't require research, things like that, but
well,
we
if that's
just
the case,
had
I
a,
think we should leave it in.
we had a
Just-
request that I brought up here that's hundreds and hundreds of pages, several files deep, that we had probably an hour in, and that was just to recover all the documents and deliver them up here.
And that's why I don't want it $5. So I think it should fall under our public information requests. And there's gotta be something in that for fees.
I think they are charging. I think,
Yeah,
if
do
you could
you wanna
check
do
with
that,
the
public
town clerk.
information request per town fee, per town standard or something?
Well, it's state law.
State.
Yeah, why don't we
State
just,
standard.
why don't we just take it out and let them fall into that?
Okay.
I know
Okay.
if you, I believe the town of Shrewsbury is one of them, if you, I'm a tax accountant, so I'll call various towns, say, hey, what does this guy pay for real estate tax, what does this guy pay for excise tax? I think Shrewsbury makes you pay 50 cents or a dollar if it's a third party requesting. And I don't know what they, but when I ask, they say,
could do that.
yes, there's a fee of this for that. So when a lawyer calls and says, hey, I need this, if the person answering the phone says, that's fine, there's a fee associated with that, I think it gets us to the same spot.
Yeah, okay, what you just mentioned, I don't want to labor this any more than another half an hour of discussion on this topic, but I mean, we could do like, I don't know, like residents, waive for residents or something like that, waive.
Yeah, but a resident could have a lawyer call, and I need 200 pages.
And we have residents call all the time asking
Fine,
for email.
right, fine. I just want to know that I was trying to get the residents to be free.
I'm sure, but
And we want to charge the
But the
residents
bottom line
now,
is-
not my
the
idea.
bottom line is, most of this is residents. I don't think someone's calling residents that had an issue, but I mean, again,
if the
it's
resident's
just someone
attorney
comes in and
calls-
says, I want a bill, I don't think, let's just try to clarify the public information requests, and then they have to, if they want stuff, they have to just file a public information request.
At this time, let's take it out. Okay. Is there any questions from the public? Hearing none?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
No, aren't they all one public hearing? We still have to do the clerk one.
Oh, they put them together?
Well, we read one,
Oh, good call.
Sorry.
so let's leave this one open.
So I'll make,
I withdraw my motion.
so I make a motion, I guess, to approve the,
Fire.
the fire rates, I don't know,
Fire
it's
fee
called
proposal.
proposed rates and permits.
But we cannot close it.
I'm not closing, I'm just making a motion to approve
Okay.
this. With the change on the fire prevention systems, 1 to 50 heads instead of 0 to 50 heads, and then taking out public information records.
Second.
If we're gonna change the 0 to 50 heads, we should change the flammable combustible liquid storage from 1 to 1,000 gallons instead of 0.
I did make a note of that, but if it's a tank, it doesn't, it's a tank, so, I mean, I don't care. I did have one there, but then I looked,
If we just be, if to make it consistent, we might as well just say 1.
that's fine. You seconding that?
I undid my first second, after the change, I seconded that one.
Okay. Do we need to vote on this?
I vote on,
Well, we can get this half done, and that way,
Okay.
I think we have to vote on this one, since it's on the same
Since it's a motion.
public hearing.
Together.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hold on to it and we can get the.
You have a motion and a second on the floor.
we can vote on that. We can vote on
Okay.
that motion.
Thank you. So let's vote on the fire revised fees at this time. We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries.
Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, chief. So the next one is town clerk's fees.
I have one question on this.
So the town clerk's requesting remove the voter list charge, $25. So, and also vital record amendment charge, $15. Those are all the two charges you want to make the changes. Am I correct, Jen?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion for that?
Oh, wait,
Wait, what is it
is this, so this says the fees, is this,
These are all the current
This
fees.
is, so this document is what is currently in place.
okay,
She is looking to remove the bottom, the voter list of $25, to not have any fee charged for that.
okay,
And then she's looking to add amendment to vital records fee that's not presently anywhere on this list. And that would be a charge of, so a new fee of $15. And that's based on the time associated with changing those vital records. She states in her email that they are becoming more and more frequent, and it takes approximately 45 minutes to an hour each time she processes an amendment.
All of the fees stays the same.
Correct.
What's a vital record?
Birth certificate, death certificate, marriage certificate.
And you can amend them?
Sometimes they have errors on them.
Okay.
so what if you just need a birth certificate? Is there a $15 fee for that, or, oh, birth certificate's 10,
10.
There is
certified?
So there's a conflict here then. So if vital records includes like a marriage certificate, we also then say a marriage license or certificate copy is 10.
This is amendments too.
It's not making any, so that's printing out.
Says
This is
it says,
changing.
This is,
says certified copy, so she
So-
certifies it for 10.
yeah.
Okay.
And then the new fee for $15 is to make an alteration to one of those record types.
Got it.
Which needs to be submitted to the state as well.
Okay.
Yeah. To go back to that voter list, she's saying, it's only 5 cents he could charge per copy. whereas he's sending it most of the times email. That's why she wanted to remove that charge. Okay, so can I entertain a motion for amending the charges, including?
Oh. I'll make a motion to,
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, where this is a public hearing,
Okay. Is there any comments from the public? Hearing none. Do we need to close? No.
no, we made the other motion.
you could close the public hearing now. You could also do it the same way as you did the other one
Okay,
and
let's
make
take the motion and then after that close it. Can I
Okay,
get a
I'll do the
motion?
motion to change the town clerk fee schedule to remove the $25 voter list fee and add an amendment to vital records fee of $15.
Vital records though, but it's
Amendment to vital records.
amendment to vital records, okay. Second.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
So the only question I'd have is, did she compare to other towns and see how we stand? Are we high, are we low, are we in the middle?
I don't know that answer. Do you happen to know
I
that
don't.
answer?
Okay, so maybe if we can look at that for the future, just when they do send us fees, let's see how we stand with other towns around us.
Okay. We have motion and second. All in favor to change the fees?
Aye.
All right,
Okay. Oppose? Hearing none, motion carries to change the fees. Now, we can close the public hearing.
make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor to close the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. The next is West Boylston Municipal Plans.
Oh, thank you for having me. My name's John Fitch. I'm the manager of the West Boylston Light Department. I appreciate the select board and inviting me periodically to go over kind of the state of the union for the light department. So I have a presentation. I think the folks in the back room have that. I can bring that up. And I won't go through everything verbatim, but there's a lot of information there if you want to look at it, and I handed out hard copies to everyone as well. But as you know, the light department is the town's electric utility. It was established in 1909, so we've been doing this for a little bit of time now. We have about 3,800 customers, about 500 to 700 of them are commercial, industrial customers, the rest are all residential. That's just a little background on the light department, which probably you all know about. If you go to the next slide, please. And you have the slides in front of you as well. These are all the current activities that we're planning for this next year, 2023, and maybe a little bit into 2024. We have the 5-bay garage at 29 Prospect Street. We gave the notice to proceed to the contractor just a couple weeks ago. But they probably won't start in the middle of the winter. More than likely, they'll start in the spring. And we've given them to, I think, mid-2024 to be finished. And that's really just due to the larger vehicles that we're purchasing for line trucks. They won't fit in the older garages. We already have one vehicle outside, and we have another vehicle on order, which would be outside as well until we get the larger garage built. It'd also be our backup operations center, part of the, looking at mitigating disasters is to have a backup plan for backup office operations, and that would be our backup operations right across the street from our current operations. The next project is a 3 megawatt battery energy storage system that's going to go adjacent to the flywheels and solar over on Paul X. Tiven. That's been approved, and that should get installed between now and next June. And that's going to give us the ability to save energy or store energy during the day or early evening, or early morning, I should say, and then discharge it at our peak hour, which is generally 5 to 8 p.m. And we'll do that probably 5 or 6 times a month, trying to make ourselves look smaller to the rest of the electric grid so that we're billed less and save some money on our expenses.
How big is the flywheel?
It's 125 kilowatts,
Oh,
and so this battery storage system will be 3,000 kilowatts, yeah. So significantly bigger, and not, probably the same footprint too, so it's relatively small.
okay.
Where presently I'm going to install 2 fast chargers, EV chargers, electric vehicle chargers at Goodale Park. These are the level 3 chargers that we received a grant for, and these are the type of chargers that would charge a vehicle. If it can take a charge of that nature, it could charge a vehicle in about 30 minutes. And we expect people will be coming with their cell phones, they'll have an app, they'll connect to the charger through Wi-Fi, load up their credit card, or have an account already pre-established, and then be able to charge pretty quickly. And that's a great site for it. We thought it's gonna be visible to the parks, the schools, the visitors, and the people that are parked there doing their activities. And it's kind of out of the way of our operations, where we thought we might put it in an emergency. We just felt that having it at our property would interfere with an emergency response to some type of outage, so we didn't want a lot of vehicles queued in line in our parking lot, essentially. But the Goodale Park is a great spot for it.
So it's gonna be in the parking lot or on that little stretch of 4 or 5 spots?
In the parking lot, in the kind of the north corner, where, facing the well that's there.
Okay. And it's gonna be, if no one's using it, someone can park there, is there gonna be no parking only for?
It's supposed to be only parking for charging vehicles only, and then the charging vehicle should leave as soon as they're fully charged.
Yeah, because I'm just saying during the peak seasons over there, that parking lot is
Oh, yeah.
overflowed anyway, so now we're taking away a couple spots.
2 spots, yeah. But those are the folks that are gonna have EVs, generally speaking, so you should put chargers, you gotta put chargers somewhere.
Okay.
My brother has one, he's a dork. He talks about a charger, when the people don't leave right away, can you space them out so that you could pull into the space next to it and unplug them and plug you in, so that, I mean,
Say again?
That
so
would be,
there's 2 spaces to one charger, so if that one's finished, you unplug them, plug in yourself.
Oh, yeah. What we have now is, we're actually taking up 3 spaces, so 1 charger in front of 2 spaces, and then in the middle of those 2 spaces is 1 space. That space becomes the working aisle between the 2
Okay.
for each vehicle. It was the easiest way to consolidate as much space that's required for charging into 3 existing spaces. So it's really, we're actually losing 1 space.
You can't park in the middle space?
You're not supposed to park. That's where people are gonna actually stand and charge, wait by their vehicle, or at least.
People are gonna park there.
I
It's
hope
gonna
so,
be fun.
well, I really, to tell you the truth, if there's not a car, I hope people do park there, because right now, you're parked in front of everybody during soccer season, during baseball season, just the playground, you see that.
Oh, yeah, today,
Tennis,
I drove by tonight. It was
the high
packed.
school plays tennis, it's packed, there's a bus there, so I hate to take away 3 spots of a parking lot that's already not big enough. So,
Has the Parks Commission,
They approved it.
okay.
next.
So next on our list of things to do, the Inflation Reduction Act, that's the IRA that I put down there. We think that there's some benefits in that bill that would lead us to install new solar, and we're hoping to expand the solar that we have on Pollux Tivet eventually. That's something that we'd like to do. We're installing new billing and accounting software for operations. The existing software we had is 30 years old, so we got our life out of it. That's a big project, because changing billing and accounting software, it usually takes about a year to do it right. Our energy and capacity supply, we're actually right now planning through 2050. That takes up a lot of our time. We have our own greenhouse gas emission standard as a utility, and we have to be at net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. So planning today for that future date and getting in through some stages to that point is going to be critical. It's the law. We're about halfway there now, so we're ahead of schedule. So we're about 53% not emitting to date, and I think that's the goal for 2030. So we got a little bit of breathing room, but it's going to take between now and 2050 or so to really get it right as well, without increasing rates dramatically, without impacting reliability, and then also supporting electrification, which I'll get into next, or a couple slides from here. Our main entrance is not accessible to all customers, so we hire an architect. We're trying to design the front entrance so it is accessible to all customers. And then the last thing on the list of projects for the next year or two is utilizing our dark fiber that we have in town for a municipal network. We think that it's a great use. Right now, 911 Central Dispatch uses it, and there's plenty of fibers in the system that we could utilize that to make a public building network. We're already on it, getting service from Selco, Shrewsbury Light, where the fiber originated, comes through Boylston, through West Boylston to Sterling, and each of the municipal light plants and towns are taking advantage of that through Selco's service, which is pretty reliable, pretty cost-effective. And then from there, whether or not we can deploy that fiber to the premise. So like, can we do fiber to the home? Can we do fiber to the business? It does go by a good or a fair amount of businesses and residents now. We're looking at that. We're studying what Sterling's doing with their deployment of fiber to the home or premise. South Hadley did a similar deployment. And then we're also looking at trying to partner with other fiber companies, private fiber companies that might want to come in and partner with us and do that type of a business here using our dark fiber, and we can lease it to them and give them space on the poles for additional fiber.
How extensive is the coverage in town of just the fiber on the poles?
We have about, we have 15 miles of fiber throughout town right now, and it bisects the town in a couple different ways. So I would say 30%, maybe 30% has fiber going by the roads. So, and they're on main roads: West Boylston Street, Prospect Street, Crescent, Central, Thomas, Beaman, Sterling Street, and Worcester Street. So, in Temple Street. So we have a good amount of fiber on the main roads. So we call that a kind of a backbone fiber.
So, I mean, if, in a perfect world, if everything, all the ducks lined up, when would we be looking at potentially having, I can get my internet through West Boylston Municipal Light Plant? Or you're not there yet? You
We're
can't even
not
give us-
even, we're just doing our research now, so I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. Trying
Tried
to
that
see
ear-
if you
I
could.
tried that earlier.
On the same topic, is there any studies of putting like townwide Wi-Fi in?
I don't have a study about that, but I do know that there are small cells coming to town as we speak. We've got applications from some of the cell carriers to put up the
Boosters.
4 and 5 generation small cells on top of our poles down West Boylston Street. You can see them, if you want to see what a small cell looks like, there's one in front of O'Connor's Restaurant in Worcester, right on the line. And it's obvious they want to take that small cell and go right down probably West Boylston Street with additional cells. And the ones that want to, the licensing that we're doing now, or attachment rates we're doing right now, I think there's a small cell going on Franklin and West Boylston.
Is that what all this was?
There's a Verizon one down by the school or
And
something.
one, somewhere down towards the school, or
Yeah.
another one down there. So we have 2 applications so far for small cells, and those are supposed to be able to give eventually some type of Wi-Fi service from them, directly from them.
Thank you.
So that's the first page. I won't go into every page, but if you really want to, if the folks in the back can go to page 5. There you go, right there, thank you. So there's our breakdown of energy. I thought it might be important to show the Board of Selectmen and the public that's watching. Yeah, this is where all our energy came in 2021. Like I said, 54% of it is qualified under our greenhouse gas emission standard. I have another 10% that could qualify. That's the yellow highlighted in the bottom. But we sell the environmental attributes to other folks that don't have nearly as much percentage as we do, so we make a little money on our environmental attributes. And when I need them to meet my greenhouse gas standard, I'll just stop selling them and then count them. But we have a fair amount of energy that comes from wind, solar, hydro. A significant portion comes from nuclear, both Seabrook in New Hampshire and Millstone in Connecticut. We have a little bit of oil and natural gas generation that we're part owners of in Ludlow, Mass. And then the rest comes from hedging in the energy market and a real-time component which is open to the market forces. And the market forces today for energy are horrible, so we're trying to really manage our winter costs, because that's what's really what we're seeing right now. And as you see, if the folks in the back can go to the next page, Worcester next door to us, they've already said that a lot of the investor-owned utilities are going to go up 64% on the energy supply. That equates to about a 44 to 48 cent per kilowatt hour rate. we're still at about 14 cents, even with our adjustments, so we're doing fairly well. And when I talk about electrification, the last green line shows it. When you electrify your heating, cooling, and hot water heat, on a cost per BTU basis, we beat oil, propane, natural gas, and electric radiant heat because of our low-cost electricity to our customers. And then because of our clean power supply that I talked about earlier, the amount of CO2 emitted per BTU is even lower than all the other resources. So that's why the state wants us to promote electrification, electrifying transportation, which means more electric vehicles in our town, and electrifying heating and cooling and all the other building systems that a customer or business may have. And so you're really gonna start to see that. It's tough timing to promote electrification today in the investor-owned utilities with 48 cent per kilowatt hour rates, but in our community, it's cost effective to electrify because we beat every other fuel. And so we'll be telling our customers to consider that as they make upgrades or as systems they have fail or get old. You know, start to replace your oil, your natural gas furnace with electric heat pump technology, or mini splits is what they're referred to usually. Certainly change out your hot water heater to a heat pump water heater, and then induction stoves are gonna become a big critical play in that. Induction stoves save money as well. They're a little more expensive. But if the folks in the back can go to the very last page. So what we're watching right now, again, the Inflation Reduction Act had some benefits for us as a utility, but also it's gonna have benefits for the residents in town. And when these become real, which we hope will become finalized before the end of the year, residents in town should look to see if we publish this flyer, which we will, and there's all types of incentives to weatherize your home, add heat pumps, add heat pump water heaters, induction stoves, clothes dryers. Some of those appliances, a lot of folks in town could get almost for free because of the sheer size of the rebates and tax credits, and also point-of-sale rebates that are gonna be offered. So you go to a Best Buy, ask for an induction stove, you might walk out of there for free. And so when you want a heat pump water heater, the entire benefit of $1,750 plus our $500 might cover the entire cost, both material and installation. So a lot of good things coming out at the beginning of the year. We're just waiting for them to be finalized before we really send this flyer out.
Raj, can I say?
Okay, yeah, questions?
Great, I'm electrified the entire house and I love it, so it's, I have people in Worcester that say ours. For this, is it possible when it does come out, I know you guys do a lot of stuff, handouts, and you've done a lot of things in the community, can we put this out? I almost think like Facebook seems to be a really active place, like, I don't think people know about this. You know, we even mentioned it to my immediate family, and they didn't realize there was a rebate
Yeah.
for any of these things.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah, thanks. We post on our Facebook page, we paste on Neighbors Connect and Businesses Connect as well.
I've seen it reposted many times, but I also see the person that says, I just bought something, and someone else says, oh, the light department offers rebates. So
Yeah.
it's like always, we
I-
post it
yeah.
everywhere, we mail it to everybody's house, and you'll still get somebody that says they've never seen
We'll
it.
keep doing it. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I'm sure everybody shares it too.
Yeah.
Chris,
When I see it.
could you do door to door maybe?
Yeah, I could do door to door, and we'll still get somebody go to the light department and say, I never knew about this program. So, yeah, I know, we'll all share it, and we'll put the word out. I know I tell people when they ask that there's
Yeah.
all kinds of programs.
Yeah, we have our own rebates, and that list there is the federal rebates as a result of the IRA. And then there's a few state rebates available, especially for natural gas customers in town that are served by Eversource. And right now, it seems like nobody is preventing folks from double dipping or triple dipping into each of the rebate programs. As long as you're a customer of ours, you can take ours and the federal government. As long as you're a customer of Eversource, you can take theirs, and we'll honor ours as well, and I'm sure the federal government through
So
the
that would be
IRA.
like Mass Save, because I hear,
Mass Save is Eversource, so,
Yeah.
so if you're a natural gas customer, you have access to those rebates as well. You're paying for them through your gas rates, so you might as well take advantage of them.
Do you have a question, Pat?
I do. So my only question is, I know there's talk of Seabrook is being decommissioned. Did that get extended in
It's permitted and licensed to 2050.
2050?
Yes.
Okay, so this isn't, our 43% mix of nuclear is good
good.
through 2050.
Good through 2050. And Millstone in Connecticut is good through 2045. And both of them are gonna potentially ask for another 25 to 50 year
Wasn't there a
license.
talk of Seabrook being decommissioned?
There's always talk of, like,
Okay, so that's that's not happening.
yeah, well.
Good, that's all I had.
The state, if you want the lights to stay on in the winter, you need them.
Mark,
Good.
you have a question?
I had a question about, but wasn't about that, it was about the charging, car chargings. Do you think, whatever grant you had, do you think that that'll keep coming so we can put them in more and more places?
There's always gonna be grant money available. The grant that we applied for on that case was, a result of the VW settlement.
Oh.
So that came out because they got that settlement money and they pushed it right out to the communities that submitted grants. There'll be more grants for that. And there's more incentives even in here, for residents to do their own, chargers too. We see that most residents that have an EV are gonna hopefully have their own level 2 charger, which is like having a dryer outlet in their garage, and that'll charge the vehicle fairly fast. And we give those away. We give a $600 level 2 charger away right now. That's a smart charger that the customer can schedule when they want to charge it, so it doesn't charge on our on-peak, and then we'll actually give them $5 to $10 a night when we say to it, when we remotely connect to it and talk to it and say,
When you
turn
say
it off.
on peak, our rates don't change?
You don't, but when I buy
Yours
it,
do?
it does. So if you allow me to
To control
control
that.
your device, I'll give you $5 a month.
Okay.
So we call that our Connected Homes program. We're gonna start adding more and more devices as we try to manage our peak,
My hot water heater has that,
probably built into it.
but I don't do anything with it.
But you should sign up to our Connected Homes program and you'll get,
little bit
as
of a
long as it's Wi-Fi enabled, we'll see it,
Okay.
which is kind of scary.
I don't
but-
think it is, it's too old. Yeah.
I just have one question about, our rates are great, and I see this out the more, because I know the government's also pushing to get rid of all this and, redo. Do you have any concerns in our area, if all the houses are done with oil and everyone has an electric car, what does that do to that 2050 plan?
Yeah. So, yeah, good question, because on one side, yeah, people are saying, oh, you're gonna have more sales, you're gonna do great on your business plan, we're always gonna be here because everything's gonna be electrified. The flip side is I gotta meet my greenhouse gas emission standard, and everything has to be either clean or renewable by that date, 2050. So that's not gonna get cheaper probably as time goes on. And so we gotta be kind of careful. Luckily, we have that, we're above our number that we need now with firm contracts and ownership in place with low rates. I can afford to be a little bit patient, wait, see what happens with the economy, and start filling in the blanks later on, and then try to manage it at the later dates. When some of these projects come online for real, like the offshore wind, they have 3 offshore wind bids that they've awarded, but not one hasn't been built yet.
And you say you're actively looking to get into more of the wind or
Yep.
nuclear in different spaces to buy
Exactly.
to keep these rates, okay?
We are, and we're gonna have one of everything. We
Yeah.
won't just focus on one. We'll try to get some offshore wind, we'll try to get more hydro from Hydro-Quebec, which we already have some coming down for us now. We'll try to get more nuclear, probably.
Yeah, my only concern was, everybody says get it, and then I know a lot of communities, and I have people in a lot of places where they're like, we're actually gonna do blackouts now, unplug your car.
Yeah.
Because we're in a peak period of time, we need to shut down.
Yep. Well, the state came out with this plan to clean up our emissions by 2050, and that's economy-wide, not just the electric sector. So that means transportation and heating and cooling too. So we say, okay, 2050 is the plan, but then you have some folks that say, well, let's accelerate it. Well, no, we have to do just what you said, Christina. We have to plan that out, and there's not enough resources today to just switch over to 100% clean and renewable resources. We should let the systems that we've had in place kind of work their way out, replace them as they come to end of life, and then hopefully replace them with new clean renewables as time goes on. That's one of our biggest battles and challenges of even this year and for the next probably 20, 30 years is telling the environmental folks and we're all environmental folks, we all want clean air, clean water, but the folks that want us to change today, it's impossible to change today. It's impossible to change in 10 years or even 20. But if you set a goal of 2050, we'll get there.
And when you say it's 7% solar, is that from the solar Fields that you have here, or is it from other sources?
Just the fields in town.
Just the two that we have here?
Three really. On Bunsell, there's a rooftop solar.
Okay.
We buy 100% of the output.
Okay, so, and then the two big ones that we see, that's 7%.
Correct.
I have one more question. In general, we have all of our power on poles. Is there any idea about putting underground?
Well, it's 95% above ground right now. Definitely in the future, putting them underground in certain spaces. I'm glad we didn't, because as we electrify, and our system's gonna double or triple in size, right? So if we had put underground 10 years ago, I might not have had the right conduit size, the conductor size underground, and you'd just be digging it back up. So I'm glad we waited on that, and now that we know electrification's for real, and we're gonna own heating, cooling, and transportation under the electric utility, we can start thinking, okay, now I can size that out once and
be better.
do it right once. And so I like to say that we skipped a lot of iterations of doing it wrong in some cases. We'll always do something wrong, but in this case, this might be a good thing that we skipped doing it underground way back when. And our reliability, even with the above ground, is so high. It's relatively, I say that now, we'll have an outage tomorrow, but.
I mean, I will, I mean, just from talking to people at work, I don't work in town. Everybody talks about their outages, and I have to give you kudos, because we rarely ever do.
Yeah, we try to overbuild.
The only outages are the planned ones, I think, that you guys talk about.
We had two, this year we had two on Worcester Street that were tree related, and it was just unfortunate. Back to back, same road, same customers. So, of course, we're neighbors connect and businesses connect. We're trying to put out the fires and,
Oh, the second the lights went out, there were posts.
oh yeah, yeah. So we try to react as fast as we can and give people updates.
This is great, you guys do a great job. Can you come back in 2015 and give us an update?
2050?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, put me on the agenda. All
Let's put them on the agenda then. Brian.
Thank you, John.
right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yeah,
very much.
anytime.
Next, consider voting to approve the senior health insurance renewal rate for the calendar year 2023, presented by Ken Lombardi.
Jen, do they have that?
They have it in their packets on,
Yeah,
the
we do.
paper packets, yes.
This was emailed to us too, right?
Yeah, the revised copy was emailed.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing myself and Marcia to speak before you. As you probably observed through the information that we provided for you, we're discussing the renewal of the retiree health insurance programs. Those renew on January 1st of each year, unlike our regular active employee plan, which renews on a fiscal year cycle. As a reminder, the town offers two retiree health insurance programs through the Maya Healthcare Trust. One of them is called MedX2, and the other one is called Manageable for Seniors. As far as the number of enrollees in the two plans, the larger plan is the MedX2, which is Medicare Supplement, works on a national basis, and the another plan, Manageable for Seniors, has 96 subscribers, and that covers retirees in Massachusetts on an HMO-based network. If you kind of flip to the next page, you'll see fairly good news. We've got no cost increase on the larger plan, the MedX2 program, and a minor increase on the HMO plan, Manageable for Seniors. So just as a reminder, these plans supplement Medicare. So what Medicare does not cover is backfilled by these two Blue Cross Blue Shield plans. And as you can imagine, the plans are very robust for our retirees with little cost sharing and pretty broad coverage. The Medix plan is an indemnity style plan, so the contributions are at 60% town and 40% member. And the Manageable for Seniors, since it's an HMO, is split at 80% for the town and 20% on the seniors. This is fairly good news. We haven't seen literally, many increases in our retiree plans recently, so the town's been able to continue to provide very robust coverage for the retirees. What we're asking you to do tonight is simply, observe what the renewal action is And the recommendation from the Insurance Advisory Committee, which Marcia chairs, was to accept the renewal rates as issued by Maya for January 1st without any changes. I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have anything. There's not a lot of moving parts on the senior plans this year.
Thank you. Any questions?
So the only increase is really $3.92?
Correct, yes. Another favorable position on retirees is all retirees do have to pay Medicare Part B premium. We all do once we're age 65, and it's actually reducing this year.
Wow.
So the combination of this rate and the CMS Medicare rate puts the retirees in a better position next year than this year.
That's,
It's gonna cost the town $300 extra this year. That's what the increase is,
Yeah.
for the entirety of the year for us,
everybody,
just so
yeah.
everybody knows. That's, when
That's
you
a
come
reason.
back in July, you're gonna tell us the same thing for the
I
current
have to
employees,
go,
right?
Jen.
would like to.
I was hoping you wouldn't get to that part of our discussion. We're not prepared to give the town any recommendation on the annual budget. We will be fairly soon, though.
Great news.
Is there,
I'll make a motion to accept the increase for the two plans, or
I'll
the
second.
rates of the two plans, only one of them's an increase.
A second.
yeah, motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thanks.
Under new business, open meeting law complaints filed by Patrick Brown of 128 North Main Street, West Boylston, Mass. October 17, 2022. Acknowledge the receipt of and review complaints. Authorize response by the town council. I will turn it to town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you. So the board members have in your packets a copy of the open meeting law complaint. The name of the public body that has been cited is the West Boylston Semi-Annual Town Meeting. There are a variety of alleged violations, all dealing with accessibility. And the action requested was to explain to the members of the town about the aspects of the building where the town is breaking the law and hold West Boylston town meetings in a manner that is in compliant with the law. In receiving this complaint, the chairman and I talked to town council and asked town council to draft a response on behalf of the board, which you have in your packets. I just want to highlight a few items that are in this draft response by council. The first is that town meeting is not considered a proceeding of a public body, and you have an opinion from the Attorney General's Division Guide to the Open Meeting Law that states that in the italics on the front page. And that, so essentially that because town meeting is not a public body, the select board submits that no formal response is required. The response goes on to say that the town has conducted recently a self-evaluation, and we are working on an ADA transition plan, and are engaging towards having full compliance with all state and federal requirements for persons with disabilities. So at this point, what I am asking the select board to do is to acknowledge that you have received the complaint, number one. Number two is to acknowledge that you have reviewed the complaint, and then make any amendments that you would like to the response by council, or authorize council to issue this response on your behalf.
Thank you. Is there any questions? No. So I think, I'll entertain a motion for that, combining all three, one motion.
So accepting the open meeting, you want them separately, accepting the open meeting?
Motion to
Acknowledge the
acknowledge.
receipt, and that you've reviewed it, you've reviewed the complaint, that you have reviewed the draft response by town council, number two, and that three, you are authorizing this response to be sent on your behalf.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Faye, can you shut off the, it's blowing ice cold air on me, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
I think you said it was hot.
Chris and Christina need to swap seats.
We can swap, that one might be closed. That one is closed, actually.
Discussion on composition of park facilities. So before we go to that, so Mark, would you like to be the, reconsider your, be a select board designee on the park facilities?
Yeah, I was under the impression that I wasn't impeding the committee and they could still operate without me. But if that's not, in fact, the true nature, then I will be on the board. I don't want to make them ineffective.
So moved.
We have a motion, is that it?
Second?
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So can we?
I mean, if we,
Yeah, it's done.
I asked that to be on there because we had an open spot that nobody wanted. Why we're gonna leave, if we're not gonna fill the spot, we have to change the
So
makeup.
we
but
filled it.
We don't have to worry about that
Yeah, we
any
filled
longer.
it, it's closed. Next is old business. Pride Park update. I will turn it to town administrator again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, the last time that we discussed this, it was thought at that time that what the town would be doing was to engage in some professional services to assist us with this project. So, since I last presented to you, Kevin Duffy and I have met with the firm of Weston and Sampson, which is the same engineering firm that operates and maintains our sewer system, but they also have a playground division. So we had some conversations with Weston and Sampson as to what we are looking to do, and essentially it's design and engineering services. They put together a proposal for us, which has been included in your packet. They'll be looking at the overall accessibility and connections, looking at reconfiguring some of the equipment, installing new swing sets so that the bays are very large, and so it makes reconfiguration a little difficult with the current swing sets, incorporating the new equipment that we've already purchased, and coming up with a new design that takes into account the slopes, stormwater management and drainage, as well as the ADA requirements. So we do have the $100,000 that is available from community preservation funds, and this design and engineering fee will be $29,500. Weston and Sampson will be checking in with the town at the 50% point to make sure that they're on the right track, and then checking again at the 90% completion point. When they're fully completed, we will have a couple things. We'll have a real number of what this will cost. We'll have a new design, and we'll have complete bid documents ready to go out to bid. This does not include new surveying. However, Kevin is obtaining 3 quotes. He has 2 so far for surveyors to go out and resurvey the property. Obviously, the property has changed since the survey was completed, and we need to get a new survey done, which they will be incorporating. Weston and Sampson will be coming, they're not doing this all virtually based on just receiving that data. They will be coming out to the site to do an examination of the site before proceeding.
Thank you. Your questions?
I just had one question. You said 100,000, is that $150,000 bucket that was from O'Day?
No.
No,
No,
Two different.
two different, oh, never mind.
so there
I'm
was,
thinking of the other one. Nope, never mind. I'm
Okay.
thinking of a different, totally different park.
It's 29.5. Do we have to go out to bid for that, or?
so for design services, it's 30,000 or under.
Did they know that?
Of course they did.
They may not know it.
See, I know that that's nice that they stayed under 29.5, but how do we know it's not 15,000. I mean, just because, 29, did we call a few other places? Did we do phone? You know, something to give us an idea that this price was good.
At this point in the project, I wanted to go with a firm that has a solid footing in this field. And this firm has been recommended as having a specific expertise in playgrounds.
And I'm sure there's many others out there that have the same.
I am not confident of that. So I think that if everybody knows that design and engineering services, the threshold is 30,000. Everybody that works in this field knows that.
Should we ask them for more stuff and see if they don't bring their fee up? More meetings or something like that?
Oh, they say specifically that if there's more meetings, that there'll be increased fees. They'll be charging at an hourly rate.
And we'll be over 30,000.
Yep.
Okay.
Mark, do you have questions?
Well, I think when we did this, or it sounds like, I wasn't here, we did this last time, we didn't have enough oversight and it went awry. Can we change that 50% to, like, maybe at the end of the reconnaissance, they come in and tell us what they figured out? And at the end of preliminary design documents, they come in and tell us what's going on? I mean, just so that we can head off these sort of misdirections before they're halfway done with the
That would cause the price to
budget.
go up. Yeah, I believe that would cause the price to go up. I'm happy to have that conversation with them about a 25% check-in. But that I would, they're gonna, 50% is because they're gonna do most of their work after they get their data from the surveyor and they assess the field conditions. Now they're gonna go back and design and engineer it. So that is the majority of their work. And then
Based on
they'll
what
be,
criteria are they working though? I mean, are they just gonna make a field that works? I mean, or is there some town, whatever document, I don't know. They're gonna make it so it's like the old one, they're gonna make it so that they know, I don't know.
so they are looking to make it, they understand what our current budgetary constraints are. They understand what the equipment is that is currently in place. They are going to look to reuse whatever can be reused. They are not going to be reusing the very large piece of equipment in the center. So the new components that were added to that will be added to something new. And they are looking to make a playground that could be added onto in the future.
Are we happy with that?
Well,
Is that the right criteria to design a playground to?
Okay,
Does that, I'm gonna go back to the ground, the flooring. So if we can add on to it, that means we need to be able to cut into it.
you cannot cut into it. You will void the warranty.
That's what I
So-
thought. I was like, because I checked on that fee in the
So,
last meeting, we
When
talked
you
that they
cut
could
into,
cut.
which is why that old piece of equipment would be removed.
Okay,
The warranty, I believe, is 7 years. So when you cut into it, you void the warranty. When you have a limit line and you only go up to a certain point, you can add on to it.
okay. That was my only concern. We should just build knowing if we were gonna build off of it, that flooring isn't going in, $300,000 in flooring that we can't cut into.
So, my overall concern is up here. What happened was, we tried to get this done because we had ADA issues. There's an ad hoc committee. We don't need to rehash what happened, it's a disaster. We have a standing committee, the Parks Facilities Committee, that generally will be the one that oversees and works with the architects and all the way through construction. They're not in this at all. I know that there's a Pride Park committee, I've been appointed to it. Pride Park Committee hasn't met at all, so what's who is running this whole program?
So-
For the town, who's got oversight
So
of it?
my understanding is that the Pride Park Committee was advisory to the town administrator. So they have weighed in with what they were looking for the level of inclusivity that they were looking for in the new playground. They have been heard, and I don't think that there would be much utility in going back and opening up that again. I think that the reality here is that the amount of funds that we have available to do this project are extremely limited. And that if we were to go back to that body, would be looking at a $800,000 playground. And I haven't heard in my short time here that there's really an appetite for that. So I have reached out to the Parks Facilities Chair, and I have not been successful. So at this point, this part of the project.
Is there a chair?
Yes.
Tax facility, yeah.
So at this part of the project, I'm putting this as Chief Procurement Officer on my shoulders.
Wait, did you say Parks Facility you reached out to?
Correct.
No, he's talking about Parks Commission, though. You
No,
mentioned.
Parks Facility.
Oh, you didn't mention Parks Commission.
I'm talking the
He's
Parks
Parks
Facility.
Facility.
I mean, that's what that body is here for. The fact that they're, could you reach out to them again?
So Parks Facilities, as I understand, is advisory to the Parks Commission.
Yeah, I don't think, that-
And Parks Commission, I did appear before them last evening on this subject.
yeah, Parks Commi, I think this would be more Parks Commission, upgrade or maintenance of a park. The Parks Facility Committee is bringing in new ideas.
Advisory to the Parks
The
Commission.
Parks
Parks Commission.
Facilities Committee we took broken down tennis and basketball courts and we built new tennis and basketball courts. That wasn't the Parks Commission, that was done by I'm not on either committee, I don't have a dog in the fight at this point. But it just seems strange to me, and I don't mean any, ill will towards you, that you've been in town for 6 weeks, we have 2 separate committees that do these things, and neither of them want to be involved?
I don't know if it's that, Mr. Crowley. I would say that I think that we've seen what happens when we have a large project that is managed in committee. In my opinion, managing professionals and undertaking different roles in procurement should not ever be done in committee.
So we had a building committee that built all the buildings. You're saying we shouldn't have building committees?
No,
We
but you
should
also
just-
had the.
No, I'm saying that the procurement components should not be handled by committee. Absolutely not.
I would just say the one thing I have seen in a lot of projects is the lack of a project manager and who keeps an inventory of things and checks the box, and at the end, like all of our buildings, says this, this, and this have been completed and signed off before handing it over to what I have found out recently, the director of that building, who is then responsible for maintenance and fixes of things that should have happened within the project. That logically, we have with all of our new buildings have had that issue.
They all had project managers,
It,
every one of the new buildings, including every one of them.
did that project manager make sure every single thing was completed? Because we had that,
That's what we paid them to do, correct?
but so we know at the last meeting with senior center, that came up, that there was a list of things that actually were not done and then was handed off to the, so that's where I feel like I don't see that in projects. I don't
When
know.
the building, there were a list of things that were identified a year later.
But they were done.
But initially, for the senior center, everything was signed off on as, yep, everything is good to go. A year later, a seam on the gutter failed, some of it, there was the caulking separation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it
But
wasn't,
at the initial time that we took over the building, no, the project manager did sign off on that stuff, and
Do we have the same thing for, and I don't know, so do we have the same thing for parks? Well, any of the parks
well, the
projects.
state mandates a project manager for certain size of projects. And then it's up to you. For a project this size, I'm sure you can get somebody to oversee it, but I don't know if,
we had a project manager for the tennis and basketball courts.
Yeah.
We did for that one?
but that was, again, a big, we don't know this until he gives us a price of what this project is gonna cost. We don't know what the cost is.
No, we do not.
Right.
We do not know what the cost of this is.
And that's, we didn't get all we got these beforehand too. We got the prices before we figured out what the project manager
Oh,
was
right,
gonna
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we're not at the point now in this project where we would say, yes, we need to have a project manager.
But so then I challenge both, of you. We actually are, because the project has been, this park has been shut down, and we're not at a place where we know how much it costs to
If I
get it
can just
going.
jump in here, I would foresee, and I don't have a crystal ball to look and see what Weston and Sampson is gonna come back with, right? But I would foresee that when we go out to bid, and we will be going out to bid on the actual project, when we go out to bid, a component of that would be project management.
Yes, that's the next step,
Yeah.
right.
And I'm saying we're not at the project management stage, because right now, what I'm saying the stage of this park is we're at square one, we're
Yep.
starting over.
Yeah, we
Because-
can't say that we should have had a project manager a year ago, because we can't fix that.
Right.
It was handled by the previous town administrator, and it just was missed. Some of this stuff was missed. Is that correct?
So
I wasn't here to comment on how things happened.
I've got no issue going forward with you being the chief cook and bottle washer on this for now, but that's not, I mean, we have other committees that generally would be involved in this.
So can I just call your attention through you, Mr. Chairman, to the 50% design? So on page 2, preparation, now they didn't know who the players were in this. So preliminary plans and details, preliminary opinion of probable cost, preparation and presentation to West Boylston's 88 Pride Park Update Advisory Committee. As I said, in my opinion, it should not go back before that body, or other appropriate board, commission, or committee. And I think it's at that point, it's not at this point where we're talking about entering into a contract for the work to be done. I think that, as Chief Procurement Officer, does live here. I think that when it's time to actually look at the design and how everybody wants it to look and feel and be, and how much skin we want to put in the game, you know, at that point, I think that those stakeholders are very important. For them to get the data from the survey, or to assess current conditions, or to execute a contract saying, let's go forward and do this project, I don't know how much value added would be from those committees, other than, you know, basically last night from Parks Commission, it was, okay.
I mean,
Let's see what this holds.
the committee in town that's designed for this 50% is the Parks Facilities Committee. Not the 88 Pride Park Committee was an ad hoc committee that, it was just that, it was an ad hoc committee. The Parks Facilities Committee, that's their role. So as long as they're gonna be involved in this, you know, I'm not saying that you can't be, but I think the Parks Facilities Committee needs to have an active role in this. That's just my point. You know, the more you're willing to do, you're the full-time employee, everybody on that committee is a volunteer, and it was, you know, generally the chair that was in the construction business that did the lion's share of the work on the last project that we did, and on the Mixter project up to the point where we're at, he did the lion's share of the work. You know, I don't know if he's gonna be willing to do that or not, but I just wanna make sure that that committee's gonna be involved. That's just my point that I wanted to make.
So are you comfortable with them being involved at that point that
I
I
am.
suggested?
Okay, thank you. I just recall on the Pride Park, the first one, there was a lot of input from, well, the teachers, the people who have the kids go out to research. I mean, there was a lot of people that say, we don't want this kind of equipment, we want this kind of equipment where the kids get whatever, hide in there, they don't hide in here. Where is that gonna, when's that happen?
So my understanding is that original, and Mr. Ruccio, I think that you had more involvement in this project, but that original project was a project that was being led by the community.
True.
And this is not a community-led project.
No,
This
I'm
is
not
a-
saying that we should do that,
But with-
that procedure. I'm just saying that when we designed the park, there was input from people about what sort of play experience the children should have, or something like that.
In looking at the prices of the play equipment and the funding that we have available, that experience
The play experience.
is going to be limited.
Okay,
So if the community wants to engage in a community fundraising effort to help offset the cost, I think we're talking an entirely different scenario here.
I'm not getting that far. I wanna know
Okay,
about
but,
just,
because
just
that,
the
Wanna run
design.
that? You
What?
could run a fundraising event.
I hate doing work.
What?
I still hate doing work, even if people are listening, just know it.
I mean, I think that that's a critical difference here, is that that was a community-funded project led by community members who did a fantastic job and had a playground that has served so many children for so many years. I think the reality is, costs are significant at this point, with significant lead times. And from everything I have heard thus far, there's not an appetite to really throw an additional several $100,000 on the table.
I'm not anticipating that that happens. I'm just saying that if people, like, if people say, we don't have enough swings, so we give up a this to get a swing, or we give up the swings to get a that. I'm just wondering where that input is gonna come, or are we counting on Weston and Sampson to know this?
I don't think that input's gonna count, because we're not gonna, it's gonna be based on whatever we can afford to put in that spot. So if you say you
What if we
want 10
get
more
like,
swing sets,
like nails and hammers, and we just tell the kids to go play with that? I mean, how are we gonna know if this is even the right thing to? I don't wanna get to the end of the project and find out that we don't like what we're doing, you know?
we're not gonna, I don't feel like we're ripping out the biggest part of the swing set. So yes, the playground's gonna be 4 or 5 things, that's it. So the largest part of that playground is, from what I'm hearing, being removed. It's not.
Just
being
removed and
considered-
not replaced.
No, there's,
Replaced with two much smaller pieces of equipment, likely.
So I mean, we could go with, it's the play experience is gonna be similar to what it is now.
no.
It's not.
No, it's gonna be
It's not.
very,
There's not enough money to do that.
Well, right now, we're getting what's
Yeah,
wrong with the
yeah.
park by the person that sells us the equipment. So that's a mistake. So now this guy's gonna come and, the Weston and Sampson's gonna give us
They'll evaluate the equipment that's
evaluate.
there.
Because right now, the person that's evaluating is the person that sells equipment to us. So they're gonna tell us that this stuff needs to be changed. It's got a 15-year life. It's gotta go. So
Regardless of the lifespan, if we are going to retain any of that equipment, it would need to be removed and reset.
yeah, I understand.
That's
that.
okay.
I understand that. So, and then in regards to Pat's, I think we need to look, just like I'm gonna ask also on the facility, building facility, whatever, that's implementation. We talked about having a meeting and do the plan. This committee has the same mission.
Which committee?
Facility.
Parks Facility?
Yes, to do a plan of the town, to do what's needed, just like the building committee that we've been talking about for a year, that we should maybe have a meeting. But, and it talks about, they go back to the Board of Selectmen and the Parks Commission after they, so maybe we should, the mission should be understood by everybody on the Parks facility, and then my future agenda, I'll talk about the building part of it. Thank you.
Is that the committee I just got put on?
Parks facility. Yeah.
Correct.
Since you've been on it, it's really.
Gone downhill. That's 8-10 minutes.
Thank you. Next, town administrator report.
Thank you.
Okay. So I know the hour is getting late, so I'm gonna try to move through this quickly. So the first item is Shrewsbury Street paving. There were a lot of questions coming from residents about that project as the milling and castings were completed last week. If you haven't been on Shrewsbury Street this evening, the contractor was out today and completed the paving today in those 2 locations, and line striping will be next Tuesday.
With that, how are you going to control the speeding? That's one of the.
So, you know, roads are one of those things where when you have bad roads, people complain, but it slows you down because you have to avoid all those potholes. And when you get that beautiful new asphalt, it's like a straightaway.
Can we get some police presence?
I can certainly request some police presence on Shrewsbury Street,
No, not only Shrewsbury Street,
everywhere.
all the places where there is a lot of traffic.
I mean, I see emails all the time.
we
on
get
that.
300 police officers just to do that.
I would say my number 1 complaint is traffic related.
Yeah, and I don't say it's a joke that we need 300
Yeah,
police
we do.
officers. All we're asking is we do have residents that have concerns about this. So,
Go ahead, Mark.
All right. I wanted to do this for a while. Is there a way for, oh shoot, what's the little street that goes, like if you go down by CVS, you go down back and then you go across between,
Is it Alhambra?
Pierce? Is it Pierce? What?
Yes.
Pierce is is across from CVS.
Yeah, it goes down, and then that's where they complain about the trucks going through.
Yes,
That's a
Pierce
Pierce.
Street, Pierce
Pierce
Street.
Street.
Yes.
Can we do something with GPS mapping and make that not a something route, so that the trucks don't go on?
Okay, I think that would probably be a future agenda.
Yeah, we can put that on a future
I
agenda.
think we're gonna
Um,
need to talk about that street, but I think it needs to be a future so the public
When
knows.
I asked the last town administrator to do it, and they didn't do it, so.
I will tell you, I will, without going far afield from the agenda, I will tell you that I have had numerous discussions about Pierce Street, so I'll
We
be
see
happy to
the-
update the board.
Yeah, we see.
Can we put that on the agenda for some other meeting?
Agenda. Yep, yeah, thank you.
Okay, the next item is, folks are gonna see some work happening at the DPW yard. The salt shed was damaged, last fall, and the insurance company did recommend a full roof replacement. So that work is starting right now and will conclude, in the end of November. They're hoping to have it done November 21st. So the insurance company is paying for a brand-new roof on that building. And then the treated salt has all been, not the treated salt, the rock salt has all been moved, and once the new roof is put in place, the treated salt can come in.
So,
Is that the little one?
with that,
No, it's big around the back.
they do provide salt for the residents. Is this going to be there in this year too?
No, the salt for the residents is going
No,
to
the
be.
sand, I'm sorry, sand.
Yep, so the sand for the residents, it's actually a new little building.
Oh,
If you're looking at the DPW on,
Is that something
On
they can
the
post
left?
it on the page, their page?
sure, we can
Like
post
way,
that.
way over on the left?
On the left, and then where the sand was, that's gonna be the Christmas tree dump area. I'll have that posted, when we get into the winter season, we'll make sure that that's posted for the
Well, it's not
residents.
till after November 15th,
Right,
Certainly.
exactly.
No, actually,
After
no,
the snow flies.
November 17th.
17th.
Now you say.
So I want to thank the board for your foresight in increasing the rates for snowplow contractors back in August. I'm very happy to say that we have 2 contractors. They are almost under contract, one with 5 trucks and one with 2 trucks, which will be a significant benefit for the entire community when that snow does start flying. Snow and ice preparations, we did meet, by we, I mean the DPW director, police, fire, and the school, to get some cross-departmental communications going in advance of the snow season. What came up as a result of that in reviewing the current snow and ice policy is that there's some things in the policy that don't necessarily align with either practice or are too constraining. They don't allow enough discretion for field conditions. So I have included in your packet the current snow and ice policy. If you can all review that, the proposed amendments will be coming at the next meeting. Yard waste reminders, there are only 2 days, this is really an announcement for the residents, there's 2 days left that the yard waste facility on Laurel Street would be open. It's this Saturday, November 5th, from 7 to 12, and Friday, November 18th, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Residents are reminded not to keep your waste in plastic bags, and that all brush and branches must be under 6 inches. Early voting.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I have a question about going up there. There is a pile of regrind. Is that available for people to take to fill in their gutters that have washed out?
I will find out for you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is an update on voting. We have had some permanent changes to voting in this state, so I just wanted to update the board that early voting has been going well. I don't have my most recent, this is not the most recent town administrator's report. I emailed it out to everybody. All right, we're gonna come back to that one. You have it? Thank you. All right. So, as of yesterday, 237 residents have participated in early voting, 1,448 residents have voted by mail, and there have been 48 absentee ballots cast. There are 2 days left of early voting here at Town Hall. That's tomorrow from 8 to 4, and Friday from 8 to 4. There'll be no early voting over the weekend, and Election Day is next Tuesday, November 8th, from 7 to 8 p.m. at the Senior Center. This was an amendment to your town administrator report. The building commissioner has informed me that there has been a building permit issued for big lots. So at the current site of what used to be Salter College, they are looking to modify that building and put in a big lots.
I know, it's like, that's really good news. Thanks.
Counseling.
It's been 600 other things over the last 10 years. Every time there's a rumor, something, now there's something actually that's pulled the permit, it's gonna go there.
You
So
know,
great.
I was hoping for a TJ Maxx, but
That was on the list before, that was coming.
Can we do something else?
you know?
Trader Joe's, I think, was gonna be,
Yeah,
we got so
well-
many, everything was gonna be there, so.
Well, something is going there, which is
Something's gonna be there.
great. It'll help our new growth. That's great to get business
Yeah, great.
back on the rolls. Council on Aging Senior Center updates. I know the board is aware that the position of food service manager has been posted for some time and has not been filled. So I was at the most recent Council on Aging meeting, and there was a vote taken by the Council on Aging to raise the rate from $17.57 to $18.25, and to modify the job description. The job description was tailored to folks who had worked with a senior population previously, and just because you haven't worked with a senior population doesn't mean you can't cook for them. So that new job description and the new rate will be going before the Personnel Board. Hopefully, we can get somebody in there soon. I want to remind everybody that does not know, the Thank You Veterans Breakfast is on Friday, November 11th, from 9 a.m. to 10:30. And this Friday, there's a free pancake breakfast at 10 a.m. Put on by Walmart, and RSVP is required for both of those, so folks should call 508-835-6916. And there are two new programs that have been gaining some traction. One is a men's breakfast group, another is a caregivers group. And the last item is, since coming on, I've been trying to immerse myself more in the community, and I went to the Fall Festival, and I thought that the Fall Festival was such a wonderful event. I just wanted to take 2 minutes and 40 seconds, not so much for the board, but to highlight the great work of our cable access, but also to show those folks at home what they may have missed out on, and to make sure they come next year. I've been told that folks at home can hear this.
Cable access guy's a sweet tooth.
I think he picked up candy.
But you?
Pat?
He should have shaved.
It's you.
I was in
Yeah.
there? I missed it. Must've been thinking I looks like an old fat guy.
This
Which
is the
looks
town
very
administrator's
serious.
report. This is your report.
Said Bonnie.
So I know Mr. Crowley's likely going to have more to say on that, so I won't steal his thunder. My last item is that. Is that for folks that aren't aware, our West Boylston Varsity Lions are currently rated top seed in their division, and regular season play is over. Postseason play begins this Friday at 7 o'clock. It is a home game, and tickets you have to purchase online. And I will be attending. The one home game I didn't attend is the only game we lost. So
So you're.
so I will be attending, and I hope to see folks in the community there.
Thank you. Any questions? Nope. Okay.
Next is future agenda items and the select board reports.
Pass, Watson.
I have two. One, I know snow isn't gonna happen for a while, but I'm gonna
We
start
said
saying
not
it.
till the
I'm
15th.
gonna start saying it. If you live near a fire hydrant, especially if, what next door to you, you have an older neighbor, please shovel out your fire hydrant. We do not have the DPW capacity or the fire department capacity to do that. Doesn't take long. If you're shoveling your walk, please shovel any snow 3 feet on each side of your fire hydrant.
Can we call you?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll give him Chris's direct line. And as Jen said, as you saw, the Fall Fest was a giant success. The weather was unbelievable. A lot of people say, hey, this is great, they go there, but anybody that has not been involved in a project like that, it's not easy. It's hundreds and hundreds of hours of planning. So I want to thank everybody that was involved. There were a lot of volunteers. Sharon Iman, the rec director, was the lead. We had the celebrations committee worked on it, but there were a ton of adult volunteers, and I want to give a specific thank you to the members of the National Honor Society. They were there at 7:30 in the morning to help the setup, and they were there at 5 o'clock, 4:30, most of them left. When we were breaking down, or I should say 5:30, most of them left, when we were breaking down, and it was just a tremendous help, and thank you everybody that was involved, too many people to name, but if you look at Facebook Neighbors Connect, Sharon posted a whole list of people, but thank you for all the volunteers, and hope next year we have an even bigger turnout.
Mark? Are you still considering my future agenda items that are requested?
I forgot what it was. What was it?
No, it's to him.
Yes, yes.
It's just to the chair. Okay, good.
Yeah, and the only two that I have is, I mentioned that the Facility Implementation Strategic Planning Committee, we talked for months about should we meet? We haven't met for years, and everybody says, well, we're not building a building, but we should be doing a plan. That was part of so if that's what we should be doing, I know members of the committee have asked, so we should meet, maybe.
I would love to be a part of that with you all and really develop a good plan for what our future needs are to inform our capital planning.
Yeah, so I think we should look at doing that. And then the other thing is, on election day, is it possible for the senior center to be available so people can go in and look around if they choose to?
So I know.
Instead of being closed with yellow tape?
Yes, so it will not be closed with yellow tape.
Okay.
During the regular hours of the senior center director will be there if folks want to walk around and have any questions answered. When she leaves for the day, I will be taking over, and so providing tours if folks are so
When does she leave?
inclined.
Yeah, so just,
What time
as
is
long as the door's open, so
Yep.
it's more inviting. to come
Inviting.
in. Yeah.
To go and check out all the, I explained that, folks think about senior center in a very specific way, and, folks may not be aware that there's pool tables, and they love to play pool and they don't have a pool table at their house, or there's bocce courts available, you know, so just really showing the community that's there for everybody.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Probably announce we have a meeting on Saturday.
Yeah, I was gonna,
Yeah, well, it was, it is
Remind it.
posted, yep.
So,
I'm very excited.
we,
you're running?
I'm gonna be here on Saturday.
the select board,
Senior Center. I thought you were gonna run from here to
so
the
the
senior.
select board is meeting for a goal-setting agenda at the senior center this Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, to 11 o'clock. So it's, and it is a posted meeting.
Thank you.
Now I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and second. It's not debatable.
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.
Can we,
By the way, I was disappointed that you
the
didn't get that.
cannabis,
I
are we
have some
allowed to
stuff for
meet?
you guys to sign.